Justin's just joking. One morning, Justin the joking jackal was gliding down the street on a skateboard. As he passed Katie the kind koala's house, he stopped. Justin smiled a funny smile as he ran up the front steps. He rang Katie's doorbell, then he quickly hid behind the bushes. When Katie opened the door, she didn't see anyone. She stepped outside and looked around. "Who's there?" she called. Justin jumped out behind Katie and shouted, "Boo!" "Oh, Justin," cried Katie, "you shouldn't do that. You really scared me." "Can't you take a little joke?" said Justin, and he started to laugh. But Katie didn't laugh. "Oh, Justin, stop your silly tricks," said Katie. "Come in and have a snack with Connie and me." Justin followed Katie into the kitchen. He said hi to Connie the cuddly cat and looked at all the jars of jam and jelly on the counter. Justin smiled a funny smile. "Why don't you both go into the dining room and I'll bring the food in," he said. "How kind of you, Justin," Katie said. "Connie and I will set the table. You can bring the crackers, a jar of jam and the jug of juice." Just as Connie and Katie sat down at the table, they heard a great crash coming from the kitchen. "Ow! Ow! My ankle! I really hurt my ankle!" Justin shouted. Connie ran to the kitchen. Justin was sitting on the floor, holding his foot. "Oh, you poor thing," Connie cried. Katie quickly brought a bowl of ice and some bandages. "What happened?" she asked. "How did you get hurt?" Justin smiled a funny smile. "I guess I tripped on my shoelace and fell," he said. "This looks serious, Justin," called Katie. "Your ankle could be broken. I'd better call an ambulance." Katie picked up the phone and started to dial the emergency number. Justin jumped up. "Stop! Don't call the ambulance. I was only joking," he shouted. Phil, and he started to laugh. Katie hung up the phone. "That's not funny," she said. "What's the matter?" said Justin. "Can't you take a little joke?" But Katie and Connie did not laugh. "If you act like that, people won't want to be your friend," said Katie. The next day, Justin saw Ziggy the Zippy Zebra jogging past his house. "Hey, Ziggy," he called, "how about coming in for a game of jacks?" "I'd like to play jacks with you, Justin," said Ziggy, "but I have to catch the 3 o'clock train. I'm going camping with Bradley the Brave Bear this weekend. He's meeting me at the train station with all our camping equipment." You have plenty of time to play. It's only 12 o'clock, said Justin. "Well, all right, I'll play for a little while," Ziggy agreed, "but I have to leave no later than 2 o'clock. I don't want to miss that train." When Ziggy came into Justin's house, Justin showed him the clock on the wall. You'll have no trouble telling what time it is," he said. "Okay, let's play," Ziggy said, sitting down at the table. Justin smiled a funny smile. "Ziggy, you take the jacks out of the bag and I'll get some jelly beans to munch on." When Ziggy wasn't looking, Justin tiptoed over to the clock and moved the clock hands forward to make the time look later than it really was. Justin came back with a jar of jelly beans and the two friends started to play. After a while, Justin looked up and asked Ziggy, "What time did you say you had to leave?" "At 2 o'clock, Ziggy answered. Justin pointed to the clock. It said 3 o'clock. Ziggy jumped up. "Oh no!" he cried. "How could it be so late? Now I missed the train, and poor Bradley must still be waiting for me." Ziggy started to cry. Phil G, said Justin. "It's really only 2 o'clock. You're not late at all." Justin laughed as he moved the clock hands back where they belonged. "You're not a bit funny," said Ziggy. "You made me feel awful." "What's the matter?" said Justin. "Can't you take a little joke?" But Ziggy did not laugh. "If you act like that, Justin, people won't want to play with you," he said. The next day, Justin had another idea. He invited Emmy the exaggerating elephant and Fenton the fearful frog to a picnic on his lawn. Justin led the way to a grassy spot under a shady juniper tree. He handed out the box lunches he had prepared. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich, apple juice and raisins, said Fenton. How nice, but I hope the cut grass won't make me sneeze. I might spill the juice. Nonsense, exclaimed Emmy. Nothing can stop us from enjoying this exceptionally elegant treat. Justin smiled a funny smile. He said, scratching his jaw. Just wait till we get to dessert. When they were finished eating, Justin handed Fenton and Emmy another box. Now don't open your dessert boxes until I count to 3, he said. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Just as they opened their boxes, wiggly paper snakes jumped out at them. Ow! Oh, yow, yeek! The alphabet screamed. Fooled you, cried Justin. That was not funny, said Fenton. I almost fainted. It's only a jack in the box, said Justin. Can't you take a little joke? But Emmy and Fenton did not laugh. That evening, the Alphapets met at Emmy's house. We have to do something about Justin and his not-so-funny jokes, said Emmy. Yes, Fenton agreed. We tried to tell him not to play tricks on us, but he just doesn't listen. I have an idea, said Ziggy. Everyone gathered around Ziggy while he told his plan. The next day, there was an invitation in Justin's mailbox. It said, come to a silly costume party at Emmy's house next Saturday. There will be a prize for the silliest costume. This will be fun, thought Justin. Nobody can be sillier than I am. I know I'll win the prize. Justin got busy making his costume. He went up to his attic and gathered some odds and ends together. First, he used a mop and some old hair rollers to make a wig. Next, he used some straps to a trash can to make a tin suit. Next, he used 2 boxes to make clunky junky shoes. Finally, he pinned a trick flower on his jacket. I'll be the jolly jumble junk man, he said. What sillier can I be? What can I be sillier than that? On the evening of the party, Justin walked to Emmy's house, clanging and banging every step of the way. He smiled to himself as he wondered what silly costumes the other alphabets would be wearing. When Justin arrived at the house, he rang the bell. Emmy opened the door. She was wearing a pretty party dress and sparkling jewellery. Good evening, Emmy said with a chuckle as Justin entered the room. Justin looked around. But nobody's wearing costumes, he cried. My invitation said come to a silly costume party. So it did, said Fenton, but yours was the only invitation that said that. Fooled you, sang the alphabets. That's not nice. That's not nice. You tricked me, Justin shouted. You're right, Justin. It's not nice to trick people or play jokes on them, said Katie. We tried to tell you that, but you wouldn't listen, added Ziggy. We want to be your friends. Maybe now that you know how it feels to be tricked, you won't do it anymore. Justin started to cry. I guess it's not so funny when the joke is on me, he said. Justin began to leave, but Connie stopped him and gave him a hug. Don't go, she said. Stay here with us, and since you have the silliest costume, you do win the prize. Connie gave Justin a package. Justin unwrapped the prize. It was a big book of jokes. Thank you, one and all, said Justin, smiling a happy smile. And now I have a little joke for you. Knock, knock. Who's there? Asked the alphabets. Justin. Justin who? They asked. Just in time to enjoy the party with all my friends, said Justin. This time everybody laughed. The end.